We're all born this great, this beautiful plump skin, and then we turn into this raisin, which fortunately we can delay the process. The difference is just water content. So if you think of a raisin, if you infuse it with water, what would happen? It would float again. That's what happens with our skin. So you can see it visibly, like after one application, people will see a reduction in fine lines and wrinkles. They'll see a glow on their skin because it's not just about having an absence of wrinkles. It's still about the quality of our skin. You look at a baby skin, and baby skin is bouncy. It is reflecting light. It's healthy, hydrated skin. And that's what we want to achieve, right? And that's what you kind of see when you use just even one application of the CO2 lift anywhere on the body.
Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Ladraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. Today I have on the show Lana Kerr. She is the founder and CEO of Lumisque, providing skincare products to medical providers and through e-commerce. In 2015, she pioneered a skin rejuvenation method called CO2 Lift, a gel that delivers carbon dioxide for rapid regeneration and anti-aging effects. She also delivered CO2 Lift V for vulval vaginal rejuvenation, enhancing lubrication and sensitivity. And we are talking all about this technology today, talking about the Carboxy technology and how she's using this in her products for skin rejuvenation and just really what skin rejuvenation really is, like what it looks like, how it works, what's needed for skin rejuvenation. We're talking about vaginal and sexual health and how that ties into it. And she's got some crazy studies to talk about. This has been very well studied, very well documented, how this particular technology of carbon dioxide helps with skin rejuvenation and blood flow, helping with healing, helping with aesthetics. There's a lot to unpack here. Such a good conversation. I want you to share this with the women in your life. And I don't want to spill too much because I want you to listen to all the details, but I want you to listen to this episode and share it with the women in your life, because this conversation about vaginal health, sexual health is a conversation we just don't have enough. And we talk about that specifically. But Lana's going to share a lot of things I think that will broaden your mind on this topic. And so share with the women in your life, and let's jump in. Okay. Hi, Lana. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, Hope. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So I would love to, there's so many things to cover here because you do so many things, but I would love to kind of start with the backstory of what got you into this realm.
Okay. Aesthetics and wellness.
Yeah.
So my educational background is in accounting and finance. And that's where I started off. Then eventually went back to school, studied nutrition, and started opening weight loss clinics. This is over 20 years ago. And we gradually grew to 10 locations and, 30,000 clients later. What happened is that people, when they started losing weight, they started feeling better about themselves. Mm-hmm. They wanted to more into their skin. So we opened up, when I say we, Terry and I, my husband and I, we opened a spa. And we took a lot of the offices, we got rid of them, went virtual, and had one location, which we had an office for weight loss in there. And then, of course, we're taking care of people's skin and just looking for something that was as unique as our weight loss system was. We discovered carboxy therapy. And carboxy therapy, in looking at, how it's traditionally done, and we'll go into it. It's usually done with a needle. We just look for other options. And we really started this relationship with these scientists in Japan that actually patented a delivery system for putting CO2 gas into the skin. And that's how CO2 Lift was born.
Interesting. So I would love to know, only because I love these stories of transition. Like you started in one thing and then you went to a totally different thing. What was the catalyst because you went to school for accounting, which is much different than wellness and all the things. What was the thing that made you decide to go down that road?
Well, accounting was something I always knew I would want to have my own business.
Okay.
I started my first business when I was 14. Both my parents, business people. My mother's a dentist, but she's still a business person.
Right.
And my father also we had a dairy farm as well as processing plant, which we supplied milk and juices to all the supermarkets and hotels. So I him as well. So I always knew I wanted to get into business. And one of the foundations I thought, what is one thing I need to know in terms of what would help is accounting.
Yeah.
So, that's why I started on that and got some experience in that field.
Yeah.
And decided, okay, what do I really want to do? And I've always liked wellness. And so that's what made me go back and look into that and then started with weight loss.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a smart way to do it. Like, let me get the math, the number stuff down, then I can start. Like, I wish a lot of us would go that route and be like, oh, I'll figure it out as I go. You did it the right way. So I'd love to talk about the method that you're using, the CO2 lift and all of this method that you're using. Can you explain? So you mentioned before, there's a way that it's typically done, but you've changed the way that it's done now.
Yes. So carboxy therapy is the therapeutic use of CO2 gas to regenerate the tissue. It's actually the fastest way to do it because it's a very natural process that takes place. It's called the Bohr effect. When you change the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood, the body is unable, hemoglobin, it makes it very difficult for it to transport oxygen. So it's going to unload the oxygen in the area where there's an excess amount of CO2 and pick up the CO2. That's what happens. So it's a very natural exchange. In that process is going to, your capillaries are going to increase. You're going to have more blood flow. With that blood flow is going to come more nutrition, more hydration to the skin. So that is going to start that process of healing, and it's going to happen very quickly. And it's painless. Well, depending on how you get the CO2 into the skin. Right. So started with springs, hot springs. Japan is very famous for its carbonic hot springs. So, the samurai warriors way back in the day after battle would go and bathe in these hot springs, and it would help to regenerate their wounds, after battle. In Europe also, there's springs in France. So it was in the 1900s that they developed the delivery system where they would take a tank of gas and actually inject it into the skin. That's not FDA approved here in the United States, but it's done in Europe and in South America. So the Japanese developed a first gel delivery system. So you think about when people think of hormones, for instance, people can either do an injection or they can do a patch, anything. So that's what the gel. So it's a gel that when it's mixed, it infuses CO2 into the skin. And we have really invested heavily in many clinical studies. The first one proving what happens. We looked under the skin with a video capillaroscopy machine, and we looked at what happens with the capillaries. We also did a perfusion study, which we're looking at how is the tissue oxygenation change after you put CO2 lift. And it's almost 100% improvement immediately after it's removed from the skin. So when you think about a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, think of this, but in a box. So it's like hyperbaric in a box. So it has many uses, many indications.
Right. So what are some of the effects that you would see, like kind of immediate, like right off the bat from using this?
So if you're using it, anywhere in the body, start it with really the face and the neck, you're going to see hydration. That's what people say when they say this glow. You think about, people with very crepey skin or dehydrated skin, it almost looks like they're full again because it's just the absence of water in the skin. CO2 lift increases hydration over 117% after one application.
Wow.
So if you think of an analogy, which I like to give, of a grape and a raisin, a raisin is nothing but a dehydrated grape. Right. And we're all born this grape, this beautiful plump skin, and then we turn into this raisin, which fortunately we can delay the process. The difference is just water content. So if you think of a raisin, if you infuse it with water, what would happen? It would float again. That's what happens with our skin. So you can see it visibly, like after one application, people will see a reduction in fine lines and wrinkles. They'll see a glow on their skin because it's not just about having an absence of wrinkles. It's still about the quality of our skin. You look at a baby skin, and baby skin is bouncy. It is reflecting light. It's healthy, hydrated skin. And that's what we want to achieve, right? And that's what you kind of see when you use just even one application with CO2 lift anywhere on the body.
That's crazy that it acts that fast. What are some maybe unique ways that you're using this kind of therapy?
We have different segments of physicians that will use products. That will help me to break it down. So you have dermatologists that use the product, and they're using it for anti-aging. They're using it for skin conditions like eczema, rosacea. That's for inflammatory or, conditions. They're using it for that. They're using it. Injectors use it as a rescue kit because if they have a vascular occlusion, they can use it. It's going to help to quality the skin before they actually do injection.
Okay.
Plastic surgeons use it immediately after facelift, or they're using it when they do a tummy tuck. When they're doing lipo, they'll put it on to prevent the bruising. There's a new procedure that's getting very popular, Avali, which is cellulite reduction. One of the downsides is the bruising. So CO2 lift will reduce the bruising from 20 days to 7 to 10 days.
Wow.
So they will use 6 applications. You use it when you're doing vaginal surgery, to help labiaplasty, vaginoplasty. In fact, I just had a vaginoplasty and the healing time was significantly reduced from 8 weeks to 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a big.
Yeah.
They're using it for, regenerating the tissue of the vulvovaginal tissue, which is important for quality of life for women. So it has so many different, you can use it for sunburn. You can use it for, you burn your hand, you can use it. Or burn your body, you can use it.
Yeah.
Radiated breast tissue. I mean, it's such a wide application because of the fact of what the root or the mechanism of action is. It's decreasing inflammation, improving oxygen content, improving hydration, all the things that give us the youthful, healthy tissue that we all are looking to have and to keep.
Right. Do you see any other kind of healing modalities that might benefit from using this kind of therapy?
Well, diabetic ulcers. We did a study with diabetic ulcers.
Wow.
We can use a non-healing diabetic ulcer in as little as 8 days with 4 applications.
Holy cow.
We are right now doing a study with venous ulcers, has 40 patients. And again, they're doing 2 applications a week for a month. I mean, the results are incredible. So they're using it for those. We're getting more information from our users. It's almost like the Windex of
I love that.
It's like something is wrong. Let's just try this.
Right.
And that's how we're getting from our doctor. You can use it for this. You can use it for that. So it has a wide, think of hyperbaric is broad in terms of what it does for you. It's a very similar way.
Right. Now that makes total sense. So the technology itself is all about blood flow. So is that kind of where like the selling point to like doctors, physicians, is it like that's kind of the process that's allowing that healing to like accelerate?
Yes. Anytime when you can work on microcirculation, and that's where you're working on the microcirculatory level, it's going to have an impact on really all those different professions and in terms of the outcome of their patients. So it's going to help when you have healthier skin, then you basically, you're treating your skin barrier, right? The problem, and it's improving the skin microbiome. So if you can have healthier skin before you do surgery, it's better for you. So you're going to recover better. It's going to reduce, like even with acne, for instance, in conjunction, because it's getting rid of the waste, you have to treat the root cause of that. Well, where the CO2 lift is helping to get rid of the waste. So it's helping with the skin turnover. So when we started with dermatologists, we started really they looked at what happens to the skin. You put it on, it's almost unbelievable what it does for dark circles, quality of the skin. And then as we got into more clinical studies and into more uses, that's when we found the different applications. Even with the CO2 lift V, for instance, how did that come about? It was like most things that I get passionate about. It has to do with myself. So I'm 53, going to be 54 soon. So at the time in my late 40s, I noticed a difference in the quality of intimacy, like how I felt during sexual intercourse. And I just had a conversation with my physician, with my gynecologist, and she explained to me what happens as we get older. So, and I wasn't aware that aging affects there. Like you just
right. You don't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does. It does in different ways. So it affects our blood flow, which is a big part of turnover in tissue, the health of the tissue, the clitoris, preventing atrophy because it needs blood flow to operate optimally. That slows down. That starts slowing down from in your 20s. So if you did nothing and so I'm in my 40s, you're going to see a difference.
Right.
So once I understood what happens there, I went back to one of our medical advisors who is a gynecologist. And I said, what do you think about using this in this area? And he's like, I think it would be great. So we did a double-blind pilot study, which we replicated with larger numbers, which we've done 3 now. And the results are conclusive. So in the double-blind, what does that mean? It means the patients aren't sure what they're actually receiving, as well as the investigators aren't sure which one of the 2 they're getting. The women that got the ultrasound gel showed no change in sexual function. The women that received the CO2 lips showed significant change in all areas of sexual evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the biopsies also showed you that tissue after 10 treatments. It's just healthy, vibrant tissue. So the last study we did, which is just submitted for publishing, we added stress incontinence to that. So when a woman coughs and pees, that's that's a result of aging.
Right.
So by regenerating that tissue, it improved that as well. So that came about because of my own experience. So there's another indication.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, and it's interesting that, because you're talking about how like this is a natural part of aging, like when down there starts to atrophy. And it's crazy. It's all about blood flow. We think about guys who have ED, like it's a blood flow issue. It's the same, but we don't think about women. We have to have blood flow down there too.
Exactly. And in fact, a urologist is completing a study for erectile enhancement with the CO2 lips, because what they're seeing is that they use it for an erectile tissue for 5 days in a row, and their improvement in SHIM score is about 5 to 12 points. SHIM score is a sexual health index for men. So if a man was experiencing mild to moderate ED after 5 treatments, they can actually come out of that category. So yes, it's blood flow.
Right.
And our clitoris is nothing but a female penis.
Right. It's got to have blood flow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's great. So is this something, so explain to everybody kind of how do you get this? Like, is it, these have to have prescription? Do you buy it over the counter? Like, how does it work?
So we have, for the CO2 lift face and body, we have 2 versions. We have the CO2 lift Pro, which is only sold through a professional, which is a higher concentration of the one that's sold direct online. It's got a slightly different formulation that helps brightness of the skin. So those are 2 versions of that. So one you can get direct from consumer, which people love, or you can get it from your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
CO2 Lift V is the same product you're going to get with whatever physician or outlets you get your skincare from. It's the same that we have online. We did that because it's newer. More women they may not have access. They may not be going to a physician regularly. We're trying to spread the word because women don't generally talk about this. And so they don't even understand that something is happening to them.
Right.
They break up one day and don't like sex, or sex is painful, and they just say, okay, that's what happens.
That's how it is. Right.
Not understanding that there's actually something to do about it. It's similar to, if you go back 25 years before the blue pill came out, you would talk to a man about, this, we can get you harder for longer. And he's like, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until there's a solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at with women. And the sad thing is that so many women are having sex with a flaccid clitoris. A man wouldn't have sex with a flaccid penis.
Right.
Many women are. That's why you're not getting the sense, and you really have nothing to measure it off of, because, I was telling you before we started, I just recently got a vaginoplasty.
Mm-hmm.
So people say to me, Lana, why would you do that?
Right.
So a vaginoplasty is different from a labiaplasty. It's more functional. So it's inside, they reconstruct the vaginal walls and they change the angle, because as we get older, our angle shifts. Right. So when it's a penis or whatever goes out, it's not hitting the clitoral root. So that changes too. Now, you can do the CO2 Lift V is going to help you with tissue health. So lubrication, you're going to have sustained lubrication for hours. That's going to have less infections because it keeps the pH balanced, keep the tissue, and oxygen is keeping up circulation. You're going to have better orgasms because of the clitoris is always, think of how healthy that is with maintaining that once a month, keeping that blood supply, right? So all of those things, but the muscle and the angle, no one can do anything about it. It's like a facelift. I mean, you can have skincare.
Right.
You're in your 60s, you're eventually
it's going to droop. Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing down there. So I just was a little proactive. so I said, okay. And I'm into intimate health. I talk about it all the time. I talk about women's pleasure. So I'm like, you know what? Let me do this. So when they measure, they can actually measure the pressure of your vagina. So mine was a 6.
Okay.
Usually go for a vaginoplasty, it's 0 to 3. Right now it's a 9 after the surgery.
Oh, wow.
So I did that. And I'm telling you, Hope, I forgot. My husband is like, oh my God, I can't keep up. You don't even remember. I didn't remember how this was.
What it was like.
As good as I thought it was before, because but the angle changed and the tightness of it. It's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most amazing thing. So so I did it typically, it's usually 8 weeks recovery, and then you start using a dilator to open it back up.
Right.
It was 5 weeks, and then you'd use a dilator to open it back up. Terry's helping with this process, so you have to be fun, but it just changes. It changes things. So aging affects things. You get it fixed, and then, like what I was explaining is that I did not even remember this because I didn't this feeling that I have. I can't even remember it. That's the thing. I'm like, when did I usually have this feeling?
Yeah.
It's that good.
That's crazy. Well, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people hear like labiaplasty, and it's so funny. As a friend of mine and I were talking, we saw something on Instagram or something talking about it because we think it's like more for aesthetics. So like you're saying, like the vaginoplasty, this is like function. And I think, I've had this conversation on the podcast before. I mean, now I say we, I just mean like collectively society are so concerned about men's sexual health and being able to get it up. It's like, okay, it takes 2 to like there's 2 people involved.
Yes. And the thing is that, so, I mean, I'm all for if a woman feels that they need a labiaplasty for their confidence, for whatever.
Sure. Yes.
But definitely for vaginoplasty for function.
Right.
So.
We're supposed to have pleasure too. Like
it's and great pleasure if you're going to do it. So I'm like, I'm going to be at this, if I'm alive for another, I'm 53. So hopefully another 40 something years. I want that to work really well. And that I think it keeps you connected with yourself and with your partner. So it's even that's funny because even though I did not expect the aesthetics to change for that, when you how they angle it, I look like an 18-year-old like down there. Like it just looks like my husband's like, she knew. It really does make you feel as I never thought. I don't care about that approach.
Right.
Makes you feel so much more confident. And then I think too, what I love too about the CO2 therapy in particular is the fact that, it's something. So the protocol is for a woman would do 5 to 10 in application. So you mix it, you pull it up in a syringe applicator, and you insert it just kind of like a tampon.
Okay.
The rest goes on the vulva. You put a panty liner on and you go to bed. So you can drink while you sleep, right? There's no clean involved. And you get up, you pee, it comes out. And whatever is left, you can just put on a panty liner. It will come out. You can have sex right away. It's actually very nice. It's not a lube. So this is more than the HA. So many people are talking about the HA for the vagina. Like, so you talk about like other products like Reverie. This is not, first of all, I don't even, the molecules on that are too big to get into the vagina. To me, it's like an expensive lube. The CO2 Live V is reconditioning vulvovaginal skin. That's what it's doing. So it's, once you do the 10 treatments, if that's, then you feel like you get back to normal, then you just maintain it with 1 application a month. Doing that also keeps it top of mind for you because we as women have so few sexual cues. The fact of taking care of that area, like we did our face, you put on your face mask, you do that. You're taking care of her, you take care of you. And so it just makes you expect intimacy, sexual intimacy, pleasurable. It kind of keeps you more at top of mind.
Right, for sure. So how long, how long do you have to do that process? How long do you have to, and I say inject, it's not injection, put it up there. How long does that, apply?
Well, you do it for 5 to 10 times within 2 weeks, a 2-week period. So, so 5, if it was 5, and what's the difference with 5 or 10? It depends on where you're at in terms of aging. Though.
Right.
You can see 5 and you can see how you feel. The study was done on 10, and these women were between the age of 40 to 70. So they had atrophy. And there's some women who have started experiencing this even at a younger age. We just wanted women we know are in the serious condition to be able to use it and to be able to evaluate it. But women using it who are having their periods. I mean, they're using it for painful periods.
Oh, wow.
So it's young women are using it. They're using it. I mean, I've had some gynecologists use it for women who are trying to get pregnant, to be able to think about blood supply and oxygen.
Right.
Women who right after, you have a child or right before you get pregnant to keep the elasticity or before you deliver so that you don't hear it on there.
Yeah.
And if you do, then use it on there. You can use it.
I wish I would have had that.
I know. Me too. Because I did. And I didn't get an episiotomy. My doctor didn't believe in that. She said, just make it here. Right.
Yep.
So if I had that, it would have just prevented that.
Gosh. Yeah.
So and for women who have, they can use it to repair. So it's just, it can be used. People with lichen sclerosis, many women that I think is such an understated percentage of women have lichen they don't even know, which is a condition where it can be painful sex. It's very itching, very uncomfortable on there. Typical treatment is steroids. Then is so the tissue gets thinner. It's like a cycle. This is treating women and helping them. Biopsied lichen. So I'm very, very proud of this product. I very, very proud of the fact that I can be involved in helping women in this very important area of their lives because it definitely changed mine.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. No, this is a game changer. Like I said, I mean, I feel like we should be having, I've had a couple guests on just talking about overall, like just vaginal health in general. But I think this is a conversation we need to have more of, like women's sexual health, vaginal health, and it all goes together. I mean, I don't think we talk about it enough. And I think so many women, it's either like a shameful thing to talk about or an embarrassing thing, or like you said, it's just like, oh, well, this just is how it is as, I'm getting older. So I guess I just don't enjoy sex anymore. Like, I just think this is a conversation we should be having because like I said, like the society believes men should have pleasure whenever, wherever. So we do too.
Exactly. And that's why you see, even it affects marriages, many marriages break up because, and yes, men have a drive and they have things to help them stay young.
Right.
And their wife is just not keeping up with them anymore. Just a sore subject that goes into all that. So yeah, for sure. I think that more conversation. I'm so glad that you're having this platform and so many more are actually talking about this. The landscape on this has changed in the last 3 years because we started this product before that and it was just, no one was really talking about it in a way in terms of just in a healthy way. I mean, in a respectful, healthy way.
Right. Well, and it's not like taboo to talk about your sexual health and your vagina. And, it's like, like we all got them. So
we wouldn't be here if we did not.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I love this conversation so much. Okay, this is so great. And I cannot wait to share everything that you're talking about. Of course, I'm going to have links to everything. So tell everybody, you just gave a couple ways that they can find it. So where can they go do their own shopping, check all the things out? Where can they find out about it?
They can go to co2lift.com and then they can look for the CO2 Lift V, the vaginal. They can explore that. Certainly ask your physician about it as well. My Instagram handle is at the Lana Kerr. I'm very good at responding. People ask me questions. They can go to our handle, the company handle at CO2 Lift and at CO2 Lift V. And I just wanted to say this too, that this is hormone free. Now, I'm not against hormones. I was on hormones when I was 45 years old and I still have a difference with things not working the same way that I'd want to. Right. So hormones, if you can take it, I'm a big advocate of them, but certainly this is hormone free. And this is something you do in the privacy of your home. So there's, even if you get it from your doctor, you're doing it at home.
No, good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, perfect. And the links to all that, y'all, are in the show notes. And Lana gave us a discount code, which we are also putting in the show notes. You can use that. So thank you so much for that. I have one more question I want to ask you that I like to ask everybody as we wrap up. What do you think is the most important thing you can do to live with purpose?
What is the most important thing I can do to live with purpose? Well, first of all, I think you have to know what your purpose is, and I think I'm all about goals and keeping things top of mind. So you need to be present. You need to, and what keeps me present? Okay. So what keeps me focused? I think when you say purpose, it's all about what's your focus, right? For me, one of the things that I like to do, because I have so much on my plate, I keep a running tally of the thing before I go to bed, before I leave my office. I keep a running tally of I look back at all the things that I was supposed to do and add to the list of things that are still on my mind that I may not have been able to get to. So I don't go to bed stressed because I already kind of take it out. And then when you wake up with passion to kind of accomplish so much more on there. But is that answering your question? I think it's definitely, for me, it's being organized. It's being, putting the most important things first, which to me is, my spirituality, my emotional and physical health. Of course, business is important, so that's the next thing. But I take care of those things and I have a system that I do it early in the morning. I get those things done. And I feel by doing that, I feel useful. I feel, and I feel like I'm assisting others.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. And thank you so much for your dedication to your work, the work you're doing in this realm. I mean, I think it's, like I said, this is a conversation we need to be having more. And you're doing such great work to help women just to be able to live more fulfilled lives and in all areas. So I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hope. Thanks for bringing me on today.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.